For thousands of years, there was one grain that grew itself, survived droughts, fed entire villages through winter, and never asked farmers for anything in return. It was planted once and came back every single year without fail. Then, almost overnight, we stopped growing it. Today, most people have never even heard its name. What happened to the grain that never failed us, and why did we let it disappear? Stay with me, because what I'm about to share will change how you think about gardening forever. This grain wasn't just another crop. It was survival. It was security. For families living in cold climates, harsh winters, and unpredictable weather, this grain meant the difference between eating and starving. It didn't need fertilizer. It didn't need pesticides. It didn't even need replanting. You put it in the ground once, and it fed your family year after year after year.
Farmers trusted it more than any other crop they grew.
But here's the strange part. Somewhere along the way, we forgot about it. We replaced it with crops that demanded more work, more money, and more risk. Crops that failed when the weather turned bad. Crops that left families hungry when things went wrong. So, why would anyone abandon something so reliable? Why would entire communities stop growing the grain that saved their grandparents from starvation? The answer isn't what you think. And before I tell you what this grain is, you need to understand what made it so special in the first place. Imagine planting something once, just once, and then never having to plant it again for the rest of your life. That's not a fantasy. That's exactly how this grain worked. Every fall, it would come back on its own. No tilling, no replanting, no extra effort. While other crops demanded backbreaking labor every single spring, this grain quietly returned without asking for anything. And it wasn't weak. It survived freezing winters that killed everything else. It grew in poor soil where other grains refused to sprout. Droughts that destroyed wheat and barley. This grain kept growing. Pests that ruined entire harvests. They left this grain alone. Farmers knew that no matter what happened, this grain would be there. It was the one thing they could count on when everything else failed. So here's the question that haunted me when I first learned about this. If this grain was so tough, so reliable, so easy to grow, why isn't every gardener planting it today? Why did it vanish from our fields, our gardens, and our memory? The answer is going to surprise you. But first, let me tell you what this grain actually is. The grain I'm talking about is called perennial rye. And before modern farming changed everything, it was one of the most planted grains in cold northern regions across Europe and North America. Farmers didn't just like it. They depended on it. Here's why it mattered so much. Perennial rye was planted in late summer, early fall. It would sprout before winter, then go dormant under the snow. When spring arrived, it was already growing while other crops were still being planted. That meant food came earlier. Families didn't have to wait months for their first harvest. They had grain while their neighbors were still hoping their seeds would sprout. But the real magic happened after harvest. Most grains die after you cut them. You have to replant them the next year. Not perennial rye. After you harvested it, the roots stayed alive underground. And the next fall, it came back on its own, year after year after year. Some farmers reported the same patch of rye coming back for 5, 10, or even 15 years without replanting. Think about what that meant. No buying new seeds every spring. No plowing the field. No risking a bad planting season. You just let it grow, harvested it when it was ready, and trusted it would return. For families living on the edge of survival, that reliability was priceless. It wasn't the highest yielding grain. It wasn't the most profitable, but it never failed, and that's what mattered most. So if perennial rye was this dependable, this easy, this perfect for small farmers and gardeners, what happened? Why did it disappear? Here's where the story gets frustrating and a little heartbreaking. In the early 20th century, farming changed. It stopped being about survival and started being about profit. Big industrial farms didn't care about a grain that came back on its own. They cared about yields. They cared about selling as much as possible as fast as possible. And perennial rye, while reliable, didn't produce as much grain per acre as annual rye or wheat. So farmers were told to stop planting it. They were told it was old-fashioned, inefficient, a waste of space. Seed companies stopped selling it because they made more money selling annual seeds every single year. And slowly, field by field, perennial rye disappeared. But here's what nobody talks about: the cost of abandoning it. And I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about something much bigger. Something we're only now starting to realize we lost. When we stopped growing perennial rye, we didn't just lose a grain. We lost a way of farming that worked with nature instead of fighting it. Perennial crops build soil. Their roots stay in the ground year-round, holding soil together, preventing erosion, and feeding beneficial organisms underground. Annual crops do the opposite. Every time you plow and replant, you destroy soil structure. You lose nutrients. You create more work for yourself. Perennial rye also didn't need chemical fertilizers. Its deep roots pulled nutrients from deeper in the soil where annual crops couldn't reach. It didn't need pesticides because pests prefer weak, stressed plants, and perennial rye was anything but weak. It was low maintenance in every possible way. And here's something that shocked me when I learned it. Perennial rye is more nutritious than modern annual grains because it grows more slowly and puts energy into strong roots. The grain itself is denser, richer in protein, and better for long-term storage. Our ancestors knew this. They knew that food grown slowly, naturally, and without chemicals was better for their families. But we traded all of that for convenience, for higher short-term yields, for farming systems that require constant inputs, constant spending, and constant labor. We gave up a grain that took care of itself and replaced it with grains that demand everything from us. And now, most gardeners and small farmers don't even know perennial rye exists. But some people are bringing it back. Here's the part that gives me hope. In the last few years, researchers, gardeners, and small farmers have started looking for perennial rye again. They're finding old seeds in seed banks. They're replanting it in test gardens. And they're remembering why it mattered so much to the people who came before us. Some gardeners are growing it right now. They're planting it once and watching it return every year, just like it did 100 years ago. They're discovering that the old ways weren't backward. They were smart. They were sustainable. They worked. And if you're wondering whether you can grow it yourself, the answer is yes. But before I tell you how, there's one more thing you need to know. One mistake that even experienced gardeners make when they try to grow perennial crops. A mistake that causes them to fail before they even get started. And if you avoid this one mistake, you'll understand why perennial rye was trusted for thousands of years. The mistake is expecting it to behave like an annual crop. Perennial rye grows differently. It thinks long-term. The first year, it focuses on roots, not grain. You won't get a huge harvest right away. But by the second and third year, those deep roots pay off. The grain comes back stronger, healthier, and more reliable than anything you've planted before. If you want to try growing perennial rye, look for seed suppliers that specialize in heirloom or perennial grains. Plant it in late summer, early fall in well-drained soil. Let it establish itself over winter. And then watch it come back year after year, just like it did for your great-grandparents. We stopped growing the grain that never failed us. But we don't have to keep making that mistake. Sometimes the best way forward is to remember what worked in the past. If stories surprised you, let me know in the comments. And if you want more forgotten plants that deserve to come back, I'll see you in the next one.